Kimmel was spotted in Los Angeles for the first time since his show went dark.
Seems that they're saying Trump pulled it. Trump didn't like what he said, so they pulled his show off the air. So I could be wrong, but it's what I'm hearing.
There are protesters that gathered outside the lot of ABC's parent company, Disney, demanding that Kimmel be brought back. They're saying his suspension is an attack on free speech.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't think, man, Jimmy Kimmel was, he's a comedian. Let's be real. That late night show, that type of stuff is all comedy. You know what I'm saying? And I get it where Trump maybe could have his defenses on it. But at the same time, it's like they need to bring his show back. That show been on for a very long time. You know what I'm saying? For years. Man, it's free speech, man. How you gonna get on a show that all they do is it's a comedy show. All they do is talk about the past and news and all that stuff, and they joke around. You can't get mad that Jimmy Kimmel is speaking freely. Everything that he said was free speech. I don't really think that he was just slandering Trump.
Even as we learn more about the financial implications of Kimmel's comments. The Wall Street Journal reporting on Disney's decision, saying that advertisers and affiliates soon called the network expressing concern about Kimmel's show. According to Nielsen ratings, Jimmy Kimmel Live had been on a steady decline for years.
Oh, so they was gonna get rid of his show anyways.
After a big bump in 2013 when he changed his time slot, his ratings, however, have been falling dramatically. I mean, Charles,
Right,
look at
okay.
that.
Yeah.
This is a business, and you see that it's just a steady decline year over year over year.
So Jimmy Kimmel was declining, you know what I'm saying? His show was already, at some point, they were going to pull his show anyways, but then he said a couple words, and it just made it so easy for them to want to pull his show, and I'm pretty sure it probably has something to do with Trump. He's like, yo, get him out of here, man. I don't like what he said. Pull that crap, you know what I'm saying?
And yet people are dumbfounded
Pull the plug,
about
man.
this.
Yeah, you don't have to be a financial analyst to say that that's bad, right?
Right.
So, I mean, and here's the thing, and there's a group of people who actually say, hey, this was a perfect opportunity for Disney to make a move they probably wanted to make anyway.
So that's what I just said. They wanted to make the move anyways because his show was declining. The ratings were going down.
Looking at this chart, ultimately it's a business, right? And let's not forget, this is Disney. Disney stock, folks, was $197 a share March of 2021 when they embraced the whole woke thing. They and now it's $122 a share. Think about that for a moment. This is 4 years later. We started today with the stock market at an all-time high. A company that was supposed to be invincible. They had the amusement parks. They had the movies. They have TV. It was supposed to be one of
Walt Disney got it all, man.
the most invincible blue chip names out there. A can't-miss stock. A can't-miss company. No one could beat them. And here they are. The stock is down dramatically as the rest of the market has soared. And again, that's the lingering fallout from getting involved or being on the wrong.
I always say the same thing, man, about these companies. Bro, you're a company. Stay in your field. Stay as a company. Now, if you guys are doing things that are not politically correct or you're offending people, you know what I'm saying? Okay, handle that. But when companies start getting involved with politics and they start voicing their opinions and making these moves and stuff, they don't understand that that stuff affects them in the long run. You know what I'm saying? We're the reason why companies, the people is the reason why companies are alive. You say the wrong thing, you do the wrong thing, you pull the plug on something, the people are going to stop buying your product. The people are going to stop listening to you. The ratings are going to go down, right? And that's what's happening to Disney. It never usually helps the company when they get involved in these things.
Out of these things. So they've learned a pretty valuable, expensive lesson already, their shareholders. Those phone calls from advertisers, those phone calls from affiliates, it didn't take much to nudge them in this direction.
You know, Emily, and I really want to put this into perspective. You know, ABC is a network. They're on affiliates. They have a much broader potential reach of audience based on the number of TVs that ABC is available in. And you compare that to cable news, someone like Greg Gutfeld. Okay, Jimmy Kimmel averaging in August 1.1 million total viewers. Greg Gutfeld, 2.8 million, more than double.
First of all, who is Greg Gutfeld? I know I know him, but I don't know Greg Gutfeld. So that just tells you something wrong here. Something's not making sense. Something's not adding up. This guy's been on for a long time. Everybody knows Jimmy. But who the heck is Greg Gutfeld? You know what I'm saying?
And Greg is on cable news.
Yeah, he's earned every single one of those viewers. I look at this simply as not only a business, but also as an at-will employment. And at the end of the day, if we are responsible for accuracy on air, and we are responsible, as we have learned many times over in the courts, for what our guests say also. So if you combine the two, the point is it's not just entertainment. There's no expectation or entitlement to employment if you are inaccurate and if you aren't serving your viewership.
Listen, if he wasn't serving his viewership years ago, why they kept Jimmy Kimmel? What was the reason why he was able to sustain himself without you guys pulling the plug? You know what I'm saying? It's some information that we're not knowing, that the information that they're not telling us, you know what I'm saying? Because there's no way that the business is going bad, your ratings are down, and they decide to keep you running. At this point, it's costing them money keeping Jimmy Kimmel's show alive. It serves no purpose, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't even know that his show was doing this bad for that many years. You know, I wake up super late and I'll see the show on and I'll just click through it, and I really wouldn't watch it, but I'll just click through it, you know what I'm saying? Or I'll click on Jimmy Fallon.
We had the FCC chair coming out and essentially saying exactly that there's a disconnect between someone on air and the markets that they serve. But I think more importantly, what we saw is the climate, which was a plummeting ratings. We saw a host that invited half of the country to not watch his show because of political partisanship. And then we had on top of that an expectation that inaccuracies would fly, that anything would fly, when the reality is there is actually an expectation of excellence, of accuracy. So I'm not quite sure why freedom of speech comes into it, or those arguments, when this has nothing to do with the government whatsoever. This has to do with at-will employment and a contract that says if you aren't fulfilling your duties and if you aren't fulfilling the caliber of expectation for our viewership, for the clients we serve, then yes, sir, this is your last day here.
And by the way, there's a big difference between being in the middle of a newscast with live news and also, you know, a guest saying something crazy that you weren't prepared for, to having prepared remarks.
Absolutely.
And knowing that you're going to really, you know, he did this for a reason. I just don't think he got the expected result he wanted.
And Harris, the market started to speak. You had Sinclair saying, we're not going to broadcast this. There were dozens of individuals, affiliate stations, saying we want an apology from him. And then Nexstar, and then the Wall Street Journal reported this. Just listen to this sentence. So there's a demand of an apology. There's this call allegedly that took place with Kimmel. And then a person close to the show said that Kimmel was planning to say that his words were being purposefully twisted by some members of the Make America Great Again movement. So he had planned on going on TV and doubling down.
Now, more than anything, these last couple months, freedom of speech has gotten people in so much trouble.
When his bosses were reportedly saying it's time to apologize, you're going against the bosses.
I kind of bottom line this, and that is that $1.6 billion deal. That's in the wings now.
Yeah.
And you've got a guy that we've all talked about just right now, wasn't rating the way he should have been. There were lots of things about him that probably put him, you know, as a target, as a red line target on a contract. But he does have another show. It is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Thus knowing that his ratings were completely down, right? Eventually, we know that they would have fired him. This was the ultimate, like, okay, stopping point. This is what he said. I guess it was too political. I guess it hurt some people's feelings. They didn't like his freedom of speech, what he said, and they removed him from the platform.
I'm curious to see what they're going to do. Are they negotiating some kind of an out for him? That deal matters. What do you know about it?
I don't know about that deal. Honestly, I've never watched a single episode of Kimmel or any of those shows.
But the $1.6 billion.
I mean, the number's high. All these numbers are high. I think that the thing, though, is that they want to right the ship, right? Because these have been lingered. These are mistakes they made. You know, this week, Cracker Barrel came out with their earnings. The stock dived on that, right? The point here is that these mistakes that these woke companies...
It's not a bad thing for them to get in on things that are right, that are morally correct, right? But man, this is the cost at when you try to play both sides, or you try to join the woke movement as a company where you're supposed to just focus on making money, expansion, making your company better. Now, you know what? They're locked in on some mess that now they can't get themselves out of. The stock drop. That's the downfall of companies getting involved in this woke movement.
Industry have learned a valuable lesson. I think for a while they thought maybe they can offset alienating half the nation by doing business in China. You know, I think that was Starbucks. I think Nike and Starbucks kind of felt like, okay, whatever we lose here, we'll make up in China and other places. That's backfired on them, right? Nike stock is in the toilet 5 years later. Starbucks is struggling. So, you know, you have to embrace your core audience and don't alienate them first and foremost. As a business, really, as a communication business, it's Disney. I mean, this used to be like everyone would huddle around Sunday night. I was always bittersweet for me because I knew I had to go to school the next day, but still, it was great to,
Disney ain't what it used to be, man. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wanted to go to Disney World. Damn sure for now, nobody definitely ain't think about investing into Disney stock. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like, it was part of Americana, and they pushed that away.
Tommy, and the key demographic is 18 to 49. It's young people. And he had cratered among young people. I mean, again, just looking at the average, 129,000 in August, comparing that to Greg Gutfeld, 327,000. Young people were saying, we don't want to watch.
Right. Well, to your point, Charles, I think it's really important. As someone who grew up in the Midwest and Middle America, my family is your audience. It's not people that live in New York City or LA that go out to nightclubs at night or who have fancy restaurants. It's people in Middle America who spend their evenings at home with their family, maybe on the couch. That's your audience. You've offended most of your audience. And it's not just Kimmel. If you look at the award shows, their ratings have been cratering for years. People don't want to watch that anymore because they don't want to be lectured. People in Middle America that watch for the prestige and the glamour, they don't want to be lectured about politics, all right? And also...
And I will say that too, right? So if Kimmel's show was supposed to be like a comedian, funny type of show, me personally, I agree. I don't want to hear about politics if you're trying to make me laugh. I think that they should leave the politics to the politicians and the news channels. That way nobody gets hurt. No businesses get hurt.
Kamala Harris's campaign, a $1 billion campaign with celebrities and lights and fun and joy and coconuts and all this, right? It didn't translate to voters because you lost middle America. And not just the middle of the country, but you lost middle-class Americans. Kimmel lost them a long time ago. And then to hear that he wasn't even planning to apologize, that to me is the kicker. There's a lot of grace and mercy for people in show business if you just apologize and you even come off as maybe you kind of mean it. But when you say, no, I'm going to say actually it's MAGA's fault again, I think that's where ABC took a step back and said, this guy is pretty disconnected from our audience, and he has no intention of reconnecting.
You've built this audience based off of what you guys are selling, what that news channel is selling and everything, right? You got somebody that comes on, they say the wrong thing. It looks like it goes against what platform that he's even on. A lot of the things he was saying was going against probably what the platform, what they believe, the narrative they're trying to put out. So because he's not falling in line with their narrative, you gotta go, man. We got you out of here. The club is full and the plug is pulled. You know what I'm saying? They took him out.
Two executives are the ones who said he would temporarily step down. Do you think he comes back?
It's 50-50, I would imagine. It's 50-50. It's hard to imagine that they will be able to curb they will never be able to curb his internal hatred for half the nation.
What sense does it make for you to take somebody back that apologizes even when their ratings are that bad? It makes no sense. Business-wise, it doesn't make any proper sense to bring his show back.
And so he's a liability. He's a liability that's no longer financial. He didn't just get that way, but at one point, that was the hip thing. Everyone thought it would work. Everyone thought it was okay, and they've learned what's now a very valuable lesson. It looks like they finally learned that lesson.
It was once the hip thing. Well, it is hip no longer. And footnote on that is Jimmy Kimmel.
I really do hope that Jimmy Kimmel finds another route. I heard he has another show coming out.